The ATP Tour set for its first ATP 1000 event of 2025, and that event takes place at Indian Wells. Guys, this tournament is exciting every single year, one of the best events on tour. This video will take you through your entry list for this year's tournament. But guys, actually, let's get started by going over somebody who's not entered and somebody I'm sure you guys probably guess who I'm going to talk about here. In the world, number one, Jannik Sinner. As you guys know, Sinner dealing with that suspension due to doping and the whole controversy. We're not going to get into the weeds on that, but just so you guys know, Jannik Sinner going to miss Indian Wells. Also going to miss Miami, going to miss Monte Carlo and Madrid. He's slated to return for the Rome Clay tournament. So Jannik Sinner not in this year's Indian Wells event. Now, guys, who is entered, right? That's why we're here. You know who's entered? The defending champion, Carlos Alcaraz, is entered into this year's tournament. Big opportunity, in my opinion, for Alcaraz to go back-to-back here, guys. With Sinner not here in this tournament, you can make the case that Carlos Alcaraz is the absolute favorite to win this event. But guys, plenty of other good players going to be entered in this year's tournament. For example, the top seed is going to be Alexander Zverev. So, Zverev, as you guys know, guys, it's been a very good few months, or really years, I guess you could say, for Zverev. He had a great year last year in 2024. That's carried over a little bit here into 2025. This is kind of ramping things up for the clay season, where Zverev usually shines. Let's see what Zverev could do here at Indian Wells. I'm excited to see if he could cash in on anything here. Taylor Fritz, guys, is also entered, and Fritz is a former champion of this event. He beat Rafa Nadal for the title in 2022. Key note with Fritz, though, he did pull out of a tournament recently with an injury, but he's expected to be a full go for both Indian Wells and Miami. Novak Djokovic is entered in this year's tournament, guys. Nice to see Novak Djokovic on the courts at Indian Wells. For Djokovic, right? Dealing with a little bit of an injury ever since the Australian Open. He's entered. We'll see what he's able to do here. I'm not expecting too much here out of Novak Djokovic. Daniil Medvedev, who was the runner-up in last year's event, he is also entered into this year's tournament. Medvedev not having the best 2025. Again, let's see. This could be a big pick-me-up for Daniil Medvedev. Tommy Paul is entered. He's also a guy that's very consistent. He's in the top 10 in the ATP rankings right now. Let's see what Tommy Paul could do. Big opportunity for Paul here, right? He's finally ranked in the top 10. A good showing here could help him climb up in this year's rankings. Andrey Rublev, a guy that's been very inconsistent. Well, he has momentum on his side. He just won a tournament. Is momentum there for Rublev? Can Rublev shock people and make a deep run here at Indian Wells? Casper Ruud is also entered, guys. As you guys know, Ruud shines on the on the clay courts as well. He's not as good on the hard courts as Zverev, but still, can Ruud sneak around a little bit, make a deeper run in this tournament, and really help him as far as a ranking standpoint goes? Because I expect Ruud to do very well on the clay courts. Now, guys, I just want to note, in the description of this video, you will get the full list of everybody who's entered into this year's Indian Wells tournament, so make sure you guys click on that. I do want to quickly talk about a few other names that are in play here. I know those are really the big names, the top 10 players in the world, if you will, but few other big names out there. For example, Ben Shelton, guys, if you look at the race of the ATP Finals, he's number 5 in those rankings. Shelton, a big opportunity here at Indian Wells. Let's see if he can capitalize on it. That big serve is going to be the key for Ben Shelton. I really like Shelton's chances of making a deep run here at Indian Wells. Holger Rune, guys, he's been playing pretty decently here over the end of 2024, beginning part of 2025. Again, this is a huge opportunity for him as well. Jack Draper's been playing very well as of late. He had that big showing at last year's U.S. Open. Momentum a little bit on his side now here, a little bit. That's somewhat carried over to 2025. I like the way he's been playing as of late. That's a name to keep an eye out for. And guys, this name I'm going to end with here today. Somebody who at one time was a big name to watch out for. He's been struggling a little bit, and that's Stefanos Tsitsipas. I see all the writing all over social media that Tsitsipas is done, and what does Stefanos Tsitsipas do? but come back, win an ATP 500 event. Some momentum on the side of Tsitsipas. Now, what's he going to do with that? We're going to find out here very soon with Indian Wells and Miami coming up. And let's not forget, too, clay season, he did win Monte Carlo last year. So some big opportunities for Tsitsipas here to maybe get some of that heat off of him. That win, though, at that ATP 500 event kind of did take some of that, or lower that temperature down a little bit. So we'll see what Tsitsipas does now with a nice win under his belt. So that's your kind of look at the Indian Wells entry list for this year's tournament. Guys, it's a fun tournament every single year. Like I said, Alcaraz, defending champion, great opportunity to go back-to-back. You have all the big names in play from Medvedev and Djokovic and Zverev. Everybody's here, guys. It's going to be a fun tournament. Make sure you guys like this video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to have continued coverage of this year's Indian Wells tournament on both the WTA Tour and the ATP Tour, so don't miss anything. Make sure you guys are checking in right here for continued coverage of this year's Indian Wells tournament.